Okay. All right. Okay, y'all. So, everybody's got a towel, blanket, something, something. Okay, good. So take your whatever you have, and we want it to be pretty uniform. We're gonna make a little rolled up noodle out of it. Do you have a blanket? I have one live participant. So we'll take your blanket or towel and just start to roll it up. And y'all know, many of y'all know to kind of do it pretty tightly so that you have a little bit more specific information for that part of your back. We're going to take it crossways. And as you come to lay down, just place it right at the base of the scapula. And then take your hands behind your head, and we're going to find just a minute of traction here. So if you press the palms into the occiput, like either side, right behind your ears, push into the skull there, keep the chin tucked, but then pull that part of your skull back to really traction the neck, the upper back, to feel the space in the sternum and the heart. Oh, good. And take one more deep breath into that lengthening as you go. And then gently just lay the head down and let the arms come to either side of you. And bring your eyes to close. And we'll start with just a short meditation here. So let everything let go and let yourself just start. It's almost like descending a spiral stairwell. Just start this process of arrival. And just layer after layer, breath after breath, just let everything in you start to land more fully on planet Earth. And so even though there may be feelings of going stir crazy and you may have felt like you've landed in your parameters long before now, what's always amazing to me is even in a Shavasana, how as soon as I think I've really let go, there's this whole other layer of bottoming out. It's like the carpet just keeps getting pulled out. And so just let yourself drop in to another layer of softness, another layer of arrival in this body, in this room, in this breath together. And feel not only your coordinates, where you are on planet Earth, but feel also just through this little fun technological thing of a computer, of a phone, of whatever you're using, this web of interconnection. And just as we are connecting ourselves across this town, allow also the breath to start to breathe into you and connect the dots. Start to fill. And start to, in the way that we connect the dots to find deeper meaning, allow also the breath here to bring about a deeper experience of self. And so just as a reminder here for us tonight, for our practice, every single pose is its own meditation. Each one can take you into a deeper part of the consciousness. Each one is like crawling deeper into the cave of the body. And so take that as such, as this little invitation to melt and to deepen and to widen and to presence more and more and more and more. There's so much on the conscious plane, and there's even infinitely more than that in the unconscious world. And so in this practice, we begin also to kind of dip our fishing poles into the ocean of unknown. And sometimes we get a bite, and sometimes it comes up empty time and again. And sometimes we catch a whale of a fish. And so let yourself in these first beginning moments just sit serene on the lake in your little canoe and just feel at peace with your breath. And feel the gentle pointer that is behind you, behind the heart. So this already, we're looking at the unconscious patterns of our heart muscle, of our heart center. When we come to this part of the body, the back body, the heart. And for the last moment here in your meditation of arrival, utilize the function of your imagination to create a matrix of breath within you. Carry it into the fingertips and the toes and the crown by imagining the rivers and streams, the fluvial patterns that weave their way all the way through your body. Good. And then very, very gently float the hands palm to palm in front of your heart. And allow here an intention or a dedication to rise for this practice tonight. Good. And then release your meditation and reach the arms back behind you and stretch the feet forward and feel the uplift again from under the heart and help it spread and open your ribs and the lung cage and everything therein. Good. And then bend at the elbows, bend one of your knees so that you can just gently rock, roll to one side, move your little noodle, and then come right on back to lay on the floor. And I will be speaking the opposite of what I do and what will mirror y'all. So take the left foot to the outer edge of your mat and place the outer right heel on the outer left knee. And then let your legs just drop forward towards the right side of the mat. And take your hands behind the head and just lift your head, A, so that you can see, and B, so that you can start to kind of wiggle your torso. So you might put the head down and then move the chest, and then put the head down, move the chest, and veer the whole chest over to the left. And then, so you're kind of making a C shape in the body. And then turn the head so that you're looking down towards the feet and create also a turn in the neck, in the cervical vertebrae. And if it's comfortable to keep the heel on top of the left knee, you can. I like to let the foot just kind of drop back to earth, and that brings a little more stretch for me. Just feel, you can always, y'all, explore your body, your shape, and feel into what brings the best, gentlest way to open and soften. And then let yourself crawl in. Crawl into your own cave. Quiet, silent solitude within. And let the breath breathe into the spaces that are tugged and gently stretched. And let the exhale soften and melt anything in you that feels the slightest bit of hold or contraction. And periodically through the practice, you may want to just expel through the mouth. I've been utilizing this sometimes in my practice of late. When there are things that feel like they are built up inside, sometimes just to open the mouth and voice even your exhalation can be just a really sweet release. And something you can play with. And watch the soft belly lift and lower. For this last moment, just watch the simple thing of this breath. Good. And then very gently, just use the arms to turn to the right side and place the left hand down so that you can lift up and rest on that right forearm. And keep the legs in a pinwheel here. Yeah, good. And then start to sweep your left arm to the side of you and then reach it behind you and then take it all the way back into the spaces behind. Really lift out of the right shoulder as you do. And then we'll take 2 more circles just like that, drawing a gigantic orb with the fingertips. Circle and reach back behind you. And then maybe let the head drop back this time. And especially when you're full wingspan, feel across the front of the chest. Good. And then circle forward. And last time, reach back. And then we'll pause when we find that place that's full wingspan. And let the left humerus bone just drop straight down and really peel open the spaces across the front of the chest. If it's comfortable, let the head drop back. And maybe even point the left fingertips down to get into the forearm. Breathe into wherever you feel what you feel. And then slowly bend the left elbow and bring the hand to the floor. And from here, we're simply going to slide the fingertips of that left hand to the back of the room. And start to rotate the left ribs down and the right ribs up. So it's a really big spiral. And as you extend the left arm, straighten the arm and keep the knuckles lifted and the wrist lifted. And stay high on that right forearm so that you can really isolate the twist to the ribs. So the right elbow will be right under your right shoulder. Good. And take one more huge breath. This is one of the best ways to really lengthen the whole system of fascia as it exists in the body. Good. And then slide the left fingertips back and start to just sit your way up and stay perched on that right sits bone. And take the left hand with the palm facing front to the sole of your foot and then curl the fingers around. And so in this way we're establishing the external rotation of our left shoulder. And then let your right hand go to the side to just hold you gently up. And the weight of the foot will help drop the arm down. And you may already feel the length of connective tissue down the arm. And then let the right ear drop right over right shoulder. And you can slide. You'll find your perfect angle with that right hand on the floor. Wherever you feel the left side of the neck, the trapezius, and the upper back, then that's the angle you want, creating something of a triangle from the right arm to the side body. Good. And then here, for just a couple minutes, let your body find the tiniest micro movements. You can sway forward and back in the torso or just the head as it hangs to the right. And wherever or however much you tilt, just let yourself really pause and be with each new itty-bitty little angle and the whole world of sensation that it presents. Good. And take 3 more deep breaths into neck, shoulder, upper back. And then either stay there, or if you want to employ the tiniest bit of a kick with that left foot, you'll feel even more in the neck, in the arm. Good. And then let yourself come right back up to a tower of a spine and just slide the left leg out to straight. Woo. Good. And reach the arms out to the side. Drunk on yoga. And take the left arm down and right arm up and over, and breathe into the flank and the side body. Huge breath there. Good. And again, let yourself find the tiniest bit of a sway. So just as we rock a babe to sleep, sometimes not only the fascia enjoys a little gentle rock to feel into the margins of the pose, but most especially our nervous system, when we rock the body, when we have a sense of this very, very just primal rocking, there's an ease that comes over the system. Mechanically, energetically, mentally. Good. And then reach that right arm to the sky and let it draw you all the way up. And let the head just rest right on top of spine. And then lift the left knee to the sky so that you can extend that leg forward, and we'll take our right leg up and over for half shoelace. So our first kind of proper yin pose. A little bit of a rebel when it comes to full-fledged yin. Okay, good. And then just feel everything lift straight on up out of the pelvis. And then take your time as you fold into the pose. So again, and y'all hear me say this over and over, and I will continue, let your transit time be slow. Let the way that you come into the shape also be a gesture of deep healing. And if when you come to that place that's just above your edge, if you want a prop for your skull, you can use that. If you want to just hang, again, like a willow branch here, you can do that. And just allow yourself to get comfortable enough to be here for a while. And as always, if you want to turn the palms to the sky, that can give you an indicator of how relaxed the hands are. When they turn up like a leaf in autumn, they're totally soft. And letting your orientation be down rather than reaching out in this practice, which is just so beautifully grounding and amazing. Let each new exhale just melt more of you into your shape, your body. your breath. What does it mean for you to melt into your own breath? What does that look like? Anchor something into this deep space before you rise. And then see how slowly you can transition out of your pose. And just let the hands come behind you and serve as a little kickstand for a moment to just rest in the shoulders. That portal at the end of your pose, I love thinking about that as the Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe. It's the closet that pivots you out into another world. There's a portal at the end of your pose. When we have relationship to the subtle body, that can bring you experiences that are beyond belief. And let yourself just feel into what remains after the pose. Your own little hidden wardrobe. Good. And then slowly hold onto that right knee as you roll yourself back, and then bend also the left knee and hug those knees into you together so that you wring out the lymph glands, so that you flex and fold deeply the hip flexor muscles and the psoas, and then find just a very gentle side-to-side rock. Wringing out, releasing again anything in us that's just ready to depart. Good. And then place the right foot on the outer edge of your mat. The outer left heel on the outer right knee. And then slowly lower the legs over to the front left. And take the hands behind your head. And then alternating head and then shoulders, head and then shoulders. Scoot your way to the right to create a big C-like shape. And then arrange your hands in such a way that it supports also the turn of the head. So there's this huge rotation. There's spiral upon spiral in this shape, and the cervical spine also. And then you can keep the foot on top of the knee or let it drop down. Just Notice where you find a comfortable and gentle tug, and release into anything in the front of the right leg, the side of the left body, wherever you feel. And then let yourself go internal and be with those spaces. And just breathe. Good. And take 3 more deep, deep breaths. It's worth saying the breath here is much, much different than our vinyasa practice. It's like becoming a cloud, and it starts in the navel and it just becomes all of you, and then it disappears. And then you become a cloud again. It's silent and quiet and full and robust and full of potentiality. So I guess that would be cumulus in the family of clouds. Good. And then slowly lift the head, turn to your left, and place the right hand down so that you can prop yourself up under on the left forearm. And we'll be here for the next few iterations of the pose. So set yourself up well. Left elbow under left shoulder. And then reach the right arm in front of you, and then behind you, and then to the back of you, and maybe let your head drop, and then swim that, complete that circle and swim the arm forward towards the feet. Good. And take 2 more of those. So reaching and really reaching out of the right shoulder. Oh, good. Maybe the head drops with a little more weight on the second round. And then 3rd time, swim the arm to the side, to the back, and then pause when you find full wingspan and lift out of that left shoulder and let the right humerus bone just drop into gravity. Let the fingers point down and feel the front of the right arm and in the low arm. And take these next few breaths to really fill and inflate the lungs, the ribs, the thoracic, the breastplate, the structures of the throat. Good. And then very slowly bend that right elbow and place the fingertips on the floor of the right hand. So stay upright and just start to pivot and face the floor, and slide the right fingertips away from you and push that left elbow down so that you can drop the right ribs and lift the left, and really feel that deep twist in the thoracic spine, in the lungs, in the ribs. Good. And take 3 more breaths. take the right hand just underneath that foot. And again, curl the fingers underneath it. And really roll into the left sits bone, left hand to the side of you. And just face forward a little bit so y'all can see. Then just slide the hand away so that there's pretty much an equilateral triangle. The arm, the side body, and the floor. And let the head hang. And establishing that external rotation in the right shoulder, that right arm just long, the foot heavy. And then from that place you can maybe let your right arm straighten. Yeah. And then you can let the torso and the head drift with itty bitty slight micro movements forward and back. And notice the trapezius, the neck, the shoulder. This is where we hold the world sometimes. And give yourself time here. Sometimes I'll find a place in the trapezius and I'll be with it for a very long time. And it's amazing what starts to dismantle when you really come to it fully. With all of your attention. And take 3 more breaths into the neck, the shoulder, the upper back. And then either stay for just a little longer or give a little kick to extend that lengthening of the fascia. Just slight down the connective tissue of the arm, the neck. Good. Whew. And then just gently release and draw the right knee up and slide it to the side. And come into your side stretch. Left arm up and over. And again, maybe finding a way to rock forward and back. When we really defer to our breath, it's almost like we don't even use our muscles at all in yoga. There's a way that we can live inside of the breath and just be moved by it, just like a branch in the wind. And this practice helps us really kind of surrender more to our pranic rhythms and the intelligence of nature, I think. And then let that left arm lift to the sky. Let it pull your spine slowly to straight. Let the head come right on top of spine. Hands to knees. Good. And then take the right hand under the knee, right knee, as you bring it forward. Extend that leg and take your bent left knee up and over for our shoelace. And then feel, again, an uplift out of your sacrum, like an arrow shooting out of the earth. And then from that, we just dissolve. And so as you come to your pose, let it be with great awareness and let it come slowly. And so that when you do find that edge that really rests above your deeper spaces, that it's really kind. And with each new exhale, drop in. If you supported yourself with a block or a blanket or any of the props you had, do that now as well. If you turn the palms to the sky, you can find that. And again, notice the difference. All day we are moving to the beat of a forward motion trajectory. And here in Yin, we really get to feel what is down. There are so very few things in life. When we sleep, we're asleep. And when we meditate, there's still even a sense of lift. And in Yin, we're conscious and we're melting and we're surrendering and we are exploring our own inner edges. So there's so much to be gained here. That is a hotbed for transformation. All of those aspects that we would be riding our edge, that we would be dropping but be conscious. And that with every exhale we surrender a little bit more. And let the next couple minutes here just move in and out of you in such a way that they knead your body as you would kneading bread, that they would knead it into this soft, form. The work of the breath is pretty miraculous. Slowly, keeping something of you anchored into those deeper waters, start to rise. So each new pose along the string of poses has the potential to be a deeper meditation each time. And then just sink into the shoulders for a minute. Notice the flush of lymph and blood. Take time to watch the subtle things that we so often just pass over. And just as C.S. Lewis suggests, there is a portal to another world sometimes when we just take the time to feel, notice, watch, integrate. Good. And then slowly rise, and we will come into our frog pose. So come to support your knees for this one in whatever way you can. So if you're not on a soft surface, you may want to put your blanket or pillows or whatever you have there. And so for frog pose, I think for me it's a little bit easier on the carpet. You'll just let the knees slide to the sides, and the shin bones can either be 90 degrees away from the femur, or they can be angled slightly in. And then traditionally you'll want the hips to be, the point of the hip to be just behind the knee. So almost a straight line, but just behind. You'll notice there's a tendency to either rock way back or way forward, but see if you are just shy of a line, the hips just back behind that. And then any variations that you want to find for your torso, really support yourselves, y'all. So you can put a block under the head, under the solar plexus and the chest. You can rest into your pillows, whatever helps you explore the inner leg. And then once you have the nuts and bolts of it, once the bones, the meat and potato of bone and muscle are organized, and do take that time to just build your structure, then you can take the plunge and begin the meditation of the frog. And on this day, in this body, of just watching what you feel, where you feel it. And again and again and again, we just quieten and watch and breathe into places of sensation. And we notice our body's own desire to kind of hijack our experience or to spin out into thought. And we just love all of that. And just watch it. And if you have this intense desire to run for the hills, then you are normal. And just breathe and feel and watch and hold everything that rises and falls. But in your reactions to it, see if there can be a softening of what you do or say in response to those things that rise. And each new breath irrigating another pathway to something unfound, unseen, and unknown that lies within you. This body is like the deepest parts of the ocean where they keep finding new critters, prehistoric animals that we've just never seen before. So too can our experience of yin be when we're still and quiet enough for long enough, the things that emerge and arise. Well, I'll just let you see for yourself. Good. Let the last minute here just bring you a sense of freedom where the breath is concerned. Let it roll through without any hindrance, completely unencumbered to excavate, irrigate, unearth whatever can be found here. Sometimes the inner leg can house a lot. Good. And then if you have props underneath you, then just gently move those to the side, and we'll just very gently let your torso drift to the front. And then through center, and you can very distinctly feel the opposite inner psoas, and then to the other side. Good. And then back to center, and then as best you can, just let your belly drop forward, and let the legs go wide and the arms go wide, and just become a gigantic X marks the spot. And again, feel what's there after the pose. It's like a breaking dam when you start to really watch this gush of fluids, lymph and blood, this release of prana, this movement. The irony is that in this practice that gets so still and quiet is that we become so aware of how much movement and how fluid the pulse of the universe is, the circulation of our own blood, the mental circuity, the roaming, the rounding. Good. And then just slowly bend the knees and draw them a little bit closer, and make your way back to lay down on the back. And take just a couple of breaths in our outer shoulder, the deltoid. So take the right hand and slide it under the low back, and then up the length of the spine, just as much as feels good for you. And then relax the weight of your upper body into that hand. And just enjoy the stretch of the right shoulder. And sometimes, most times, less is more. But if you have a hankering for your full Gomukhasana arms, you can take also the left hand behind the head and let the head rest on that left wrist or forearm, and feel an additional opening also in the left shoulder, in the armpit chest, and just breathe into that. Take 2 more deep breaths, letting the breath work its magic, weaving and swimming in and around the muscles and connective tissue, doing what it does best, nourishing. And then very gently release the left arm, and then slide the right hand first down and then out. And then take this time the left hand to the low back, palm down, and then slide it up the spine just as much as feels good for you. And if you stayed with the one arm, stay there. If you took the right arm back and behind towards Gomukhasana arms, then you can find that. And just find that sweet spot where you can engage the meditation. And so we arrange the bones and then we fill them. We get comfortable enough to embody every square inch of ourselves. We tug at the connective tissue to release any stagnancies, anything bound or held. And we find that place where there is that motion within. The rocking nature that happens when we are completely still. The rocking, the swirling. Take one more deep breath into the shoulder, the girdle, the rotator cuff muscles. Let the breath work its magic to heal, to coalesce, to bring us back together. And slowly release first the right arm. And then slide the left hand first down. And then out to the side. And if you would like to place the blanket on top of the pelvis, if you have anything for the eyes that you enjoy, anything that helps you get cozy and cuddle into these last moments, please find that. Maybe shoulders down, away from ears, chin slightly tucked. Maybe an audible exhale. And then come back to that image. With eyes closed, feel the canoe on the water. Feel the lilt of the water underneath you. And feel that space of deep peace that only water can bring. Feeling yourself in your stillness, the motion. with your fishing pole hanging overboard, curious to know what might be found in this mystery of a body, in this wild space of the unconscious. Sometimes we get a nibble and a bite, and sometimes we catch a huge fish. Let yourself rest in this space that is at peace with the mystery. With 1,000 unknowns, we can still be at ease. Rest in that knowing. Shavasana. Slowly let the awareness rise. Bend one elbow and then the other and place the palms on the torso and sense your body, sense yourself. And keeping the gaze inward, only as you're ready. Gently roll first to one side, and then really slowly take your time to find your comfortable seat. And float the hands palm to palm in front of the heart. And bow third eye to fingertips, sealing in this practice together tonight, all across town together. Namaste.
Namaste.
Hmm.